I'm Luna, a 33-year-old mother of two amazing kids who stays at home. We've been having a nice time lately, although we went through a difficult period because of certain problems with my spouse, most of which had to do with his mother. You see, my spouse and his mother are quite close. He's a mama's boy, if you will, and occasionally, it seems like she's too involved in our life. We just had a serious conversation during which the problem came to a head. My spouse pulled me over and requested a seat so they could talk about our finances. That's when it all began. He told me that everything at work was good, but that we would have to cut back on our spending at home to cover this new expense. He hesitated and inhaled deeply before answering my question about the cost and saying he wants to start sending his mother a certain amount of money every month. He felt that although it wouldn't be much, she would need the additional help because she was becoming older. I found this puzzling since Catherine, his mother, owned a prosperous company. She was a widow, and since her kids were grown and out of the house, I didn't think she needed financial assistance. I voiced my worries, but he dismissed them, refusing to say how much he intended to send her. I pushed for specifics, demanding openness, especially because I handled our family's finances. At last, he told her that he would be sending her between $6,000 and $100 a month. It was shocking how much. It seemed extravagant to pay $6,100 a month, especially because that's about what many families spend monthly overall. He was resolute despite my argument that it wasn't reasonable. We were so unhappy and unable to come to an agreement that night that we slept in different beds. The argument had gotten that bad. This financial choice had an impact on our relationship as well as our budget. Sending $6,100 a month to someone who didn't have an urgent need appeared unfeasible to someone who values prudent money management. That amount, which comes to $63,500 a year, might go a long way toward helping our family save more money, pay for our health insurance, or support our children's college education. Alternatively, if this sum was contributed to a good cause, it might really help individuals who are in need. I tried explaining all of this to my spouse, but he wouldn't listen. He even recommended that I manage the monthly transactions 6 months after he began sending money to his mother. This felt like an even stronger declaration of his priorities, putting his mother's whims ahead of our family's financial security. But 5 months into the allowance, this arrangement took a surprising turn when I learned more details about the circumstances. My mother-in-law remarked in passing how this financial assistance had arrived at a critical moment during a visit. Though she hadn't wanted to seek for assistance, business hadn't been great, and my husband had stepped in to support her out of the blue. Upon hearing her acknowledge her financial struggles, my viewpoint shifted. Her vulnerability touched me, and I began to understand her yearning. It made sense to help someone who was truly in need. However, as our chat progressed, it took an odd turn. Catherine started talking about possible opulent getaways she could now afford because of the additional funds. I thought this was strange. Should she really require financial assistance, why take into account such exorbitant costs? She would swiftly modify her story whenever I appeared perplexed by her intentions, insisting that she only meant for these trips to be possible until she was financially independent again. Although this contradiction seemed puzzling, I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt and assumed that she was just having a brief episode of wishful thinking. I kept sending her the money for the next 3 months, and each time I got a sincere thank you that seemed to validate her actual need. Our family life was soon negatively impacted by the financial burden of the situation, as I felt bad for questioning my mother-in-law and disagreeing with my husband. The decrease in our disposable income was apparent despite our best attempts to make adjustments and make savings. So I started trying to handle our money more carefully. Then one evening, while tidying up my husband's office, curiosity led me to a text message on his phone from his mother. It read, "Hey Liam, hope you're doing well. Could you increase my monthly allowance? I want to enjoy some extra luxuries." I was taken aback, given that she already received a substantial sum that many would find ample for basic needs. Her request for more, specifically for luxuries, seemed excessive considering she was a healthy 62-year-old widow who lived alone. This request raised doubts about her claimed financial distress. Driven by a mix of concern and suspicion, I resisted the urge to delve deeper into my husband's emails and instead turned my attention to our family's financial records. Finding no clues there, I decided to approach the matter directly. I phoned Catherine late one evening. "Hello, Catherine. I hope everything's okay with you." She responded, "Well, I'm managing, but honestly, it's been tough. Sometimes I struggle to afford even basic things like toiletries. I'm really grateful to my son for helping me out." Seizing the opportunity, I invited her over for tea the following day, suggesting a casual get-together to perhaps learn more about her situation firsthand. "Tea sounds wonderful. Thank you for inviting me. You know, things have been tight for me too. Sometimes I can't even afford tea, so it would be nice to have some with you." "Oh, it'll be my pleasure, Catherine. Just come over, and we'll have a nice afternoon together." I set my plan into motion. The next day, we sat down for tea, enjoying light conversation. When Catherine excused herself to use the bathroom, I saw my chance to uncover more about her financial reality. I found her phone in her purse, unlocked it, and opened her banking app. Women's intuition pushed me forward, feeling both the weight and the risk of what I was about to discover about her true financial standing. As my suspicions about Catherine's financial situation grew, I decided to delve deeper into her records. What I found was completely unexpected and left me reeling. Catherine, who I thought was struggling financially, actually had a staggering $2.1 million in her bank account, a discovery that I had to double-check to believe. The reality of her wealth was undeniable as I refreshed her banking app and saw the same huge sum staring back at me. My confusion only intensified when I stumbled upon a text message on her phone from one of her employees. The message read, "Hello, Catherine. Please find attached the financial breakdown of last month's earnings. Just wanted to let you know, it looks like we've made a big profit for the 5th month in a row. You're a fantastic businesswoman. I'm eager to hear your thoughts." Driven by a mix of disbelief and curiosity, I opened the attached document and was confronted with even more astonishing figures. A monthly profit of $10,200 for a small business. This was no small feat. Sitting there, absorbing the shock of what I discovered, a wave of anger washed over me. Catherine had been extracting money from her son and indirectly from her grandchildren under the guise of need, which now appeared to be nothing more than manipulation to boost her already substantial wealth. As I heard Catherine's foodie, hastily cleared all evidence of my snooping and returned her phone to her purse, my heart racing. When Catherine returned, she thanked me warmly for the tea, continuing to play the part of a financially burdened elderly woman. "Oh, Luna, thank you again for the lovely tea. You know, as an old lady, it's tough to manage, especially when you're already struggling. Lately, things have been really hard for me, dear." Her words, now so clearly disconnected from her financial reality, echoed hollowly as I nodded, hiding my turmoil behind a polite smile. The discrepancy between her portrayed hardships and her actual prosperity left me grappling with what to do next. Catherine expressed her gratitude for the support my husband and I had been providing, and with a polite smile, she ventured to ask if it might be possible to increase her monthly assistance to $8,000. It took every bit of composure I had to maintain a calm demeanor in response to her request, given the discoveries I had made about her actual financial situation. I understand that times seem tough for you, and we want to help, I managed to say, keeping my voice even. It's not as if you have millions tucked away. Her brief pause at my words nearly went unnoticed, but I was too attuned to her reactions now. She quickly covered her surprise, laughing it off. Oh no, of course not. If I were that wealthy, I wouldn't be asking for more help, darling. So, what do you say? Regrettably, I had to let her down gently. Unfortunately, we can't manage an extra $1,900 right now. The change in Catherine's expression was immediate. Her smile vanished, replaced by a tight-lipped look of frustration. That's all right. No problem, she said briskly, her tone slightly colder. I have to leave now, but let's catch up again soon. She left in a hurry, almost as if embarrassed by a personal rejection. With the knowledge of her deceit fresh in my mind, any remnants of sympathy I had for her evaporated. I faced a dilemma about whether to reveal what I had discovered to my husband. After some thought, I decided it was important for him to see his mother's true character on his own, especially given his past criticisms of my concerns. It was a tough lesson, but one he needed to learn by himself. A few days later, the time came to send Catherine her usual $6,100 allowance. Despite having the money ready, I hesitated. Given what I knew, I opted not to send it immediately. I wanted her to experience the surprise and perhaps a bit of the hardship she had so falsely claimed to endure. This decision wasn't made lightly, but it felt necessary to underline the severity of the situation and to prompt a more genuine conversation in the future. When the money didn't arrive as expected, it was the wake-up call Catherine truly needed. As predicted, my husband called me a few hours later, visibly upset. "What's going on?" he demanded. "What do you mean?" I replied, trying to keep calm. "Don't play dumb, Luna. I know what you're up to. Why haven't you sent Mom the allowance? I'm getting tired of your games." He'd accused. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. "Listen, I understand you care about your mom, and I'm sorry if it seems like I don't appreciate that, but you need to hear me out. There's a reason behind what I'm doing." He cut me off, his tone harsh and dismissive. "You don't even earn a dime to have a say in how we spend our money. It's my money, and I'll decide what to do with it. So when I say send money, you do it. You're just a housewife. Remember that." His words were like a knife through my heart. How could he speak to me that way? All the frustration and anger I had contained for so long suddenly erupted, and I couldn't hold back any longer. "You know what your problem is. You don't appreciate me. Do you think being a housewife and mom is a breeze? Well, let's see how easy it is without me. I'm not sticking around to be treated like this, but before I go, check your mother's bank account. Don't bother calling me until you've done that. Have a nice evening." "Luna, wait, I didn't mean," he started to say, but I had already hung up. I was done being treated like I didn't matter. Sometimes life throws challenges at us that force us to take a stand. I had been working tirelessly, and all my efforts were taken for granted. Let's see how he manages without me, especially when he discovers the truth about his mother's deceit. Driven by a mixture of defiance and the need for vindication, I sent him the photos I had taken of his mother's bank account details during my investigation. It was time he saw the full picture and understood the extent of the situation. I switched my phone to Do Not Disturb mode, gathered some essentials, and packed bags for myself and the kids. We checked into a nearby hotel. A move I explained away to the children by saying our house needed fumigation and it would be a short stay. To keep their worries at bay, I reassured them that Daddy was staying at a different hotel for the time being. I wanted to protect them from the harsh realities and the tension at home. They didn't need to bear the weight of adult problems. Despite setting my phone to ignore incoming calls and messages, notifications from my mother-in-law and my husband began to fill my inbox. I was too emotionally exhausted to confront them, so I focused on making the evening enjoyable and relaxing for my children. We played games and spent quality time together, a much-needed distraction for all of us. The next morning, I was awakened by a call from the hotel's front desk. "Hello, miss. There's someone named Leon here who'd like to meet you. For safety reasons, we need to confirm if you know each other." "Yes, I know him. He's my husband," I responded, letting them know they could give him my room number. When Liam arrived, he immediately embraced me, his hug full of regret and desperation. "Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry for everything. I saw the evidence you sent me, and you were right not to give her any more money," he said, tears streaming down his face as he clung to me. I led him into the room, and as he composed himself, we sat down to talk. "Darling, I'm so sorry for everything. I'm glad you realized what was going on. Can you tell me what happened?" he asked, genuinely remorseful. Just then my phone rang. It was my mother-in-law. I hesitated but decided to answer. "Hello? How dare you invade my privacy like that? I could sue, you know. Do you even need the money? How dare you try to ruin my reputation in front of my son?" she accused furiously. Her words confirmed her disregard for the strain she was putting on our family. Despite her anger, I remained calm, aware that Liam needed to see this side of her for himself. Her manipulation had to be laid bare, not just for my sake, but for the well-being of our entire family. As my mother-in-law's voice crackled through the phone, her words were laced with malice, not resembling the woman I once knew, but more like a vindictive stranger. "Ha! You must be delusional if you think he'll stop sending me money. Do you think he'll listen to a mere housewife? You're sorely mistaken. Yes, I have money. I've always had money since my husband passed away. I just like to control Liam. Sometimes so he doesn't get too arrogant. He needs to remember that mommy comes first." Her harsh words turned my blood cold, and her tone, manipulative and bitter, shocked me deeply. The yelling was loud enough to wake the children, adding chaos to the already tense atmosphere. Unfazed by the impact of her actions, she continued, "So you're not bothered by how your selfishness has disrupted this household. You don't care that Liam and I have been arguing because of your actions. You don't even care that you've been stealing from your son and grandchildren." Her response was chilling. "Oh, come on. You two are headed for divorce anyway. I can't wait for that. They'll come home to me eventually. And as for those kids, well, I guess I don't really care." "Mom, that's incredibly cruel," I said, hoping Liam was listening. Liam, who had been quiet, finally spoke, his voice filled with disbelief and hurt. "Liam, honey, listen. I didn't mean." "Nope, that won't work on me this time," he replied firmly. "I've seen your true colors, and I've had enough. You've made the past few months hell for me and Luna. How could you manipulate me like this? I'm your son. What kind of evil has possessed you to do such terrible things?" His voice carried the betrayal and sadness that he had missed the warning flags. My amazing wife Luna saw right through you from the beginning, even though I fell for your tricks. She was aware that something wasn't right, yet I insulted and yelled at her. Not any longer. My true family is Luna, not you. I hope to never hear from you again. Liam, hold on. However, I am alone, she begged feebly. He said, maybe that's how it should be, and then put a stop to the call with a decisive click, ending a trying chapter and possibly paving the way for a fresh start for us. Though he appeared distraught, as Liam took in the information, I could see a distinct sense of relief flood over him. The understanding that he had been manipulated his entire life must have felt like a huge weight being lifted off his shoulders. He spent the remainder of the day expressing his sincere regret to me and our kids for his actions and the emotional separation he had placed between us. He admitted how much he'd taken for granted, saying he couldn't even get through one night without us. Liam sincerely apologized for his previous transgressions and vowed to do better. Now that he knew the dynamics of manipulation that had distorted his judgment for so long, he was resolved not to let history repeat itself. He was adamant about his bond with his mother. He meant it when he claimed he didn't want to hear from her ever again. She tried to contact Liam several times, but he kept turning her down. Now that she had made her decision, she was on her own to deal with the fallout. His dedication to prioritizing our family ushered in a new era for us, one that was full of promise for a future where we would be closer. Steps closer, I realized I needed to tell her what I had found.